but we'll go ahead and get started. I have a lot of exciting information for you. My name is Kari Garcia, for those of you who don't know me, and I've been a resident of Miracle Mile for 25 years, along with my husband, raising our 4 kids. We love it here. And last year, after a few incidents, I decided to get on board with MMRA, asked a few questions about block organization, and took charge from there. So I was very thankful that MMRA came and, or I came to them, and they let me pretty much do what I want. And had a few people along with Chairperson working with me in the Lights of the Ram, and a few others that read. And we've created what's called Miracle Mile Neighborhood Watch Program. So this evening, if you are from Miracle Mile, you're in the right place. And if you're not, you're also in the right place. If you're from Greater Wilshire, Mid-City West, other areas of, we're part of Mid-City West. You could be from Wilshire Vista East. You could be from Longwood Pineland. Some of you may have seen this on Nextdoor, and welcome. We're all neighbors, and we're all moving in the direction of block organization and neighborhood watch. So this evening is another one of our quarterly meetings, and the purpose of tonight is to give you a brief explanation of neighborhood watch, why we're doing it, and how you'll benefit from it, and how it works. And I also, we've been very fortunate tonight to have 2 guest speakers from LAPD, Wilshire Division. We have Officer Rodriguez, who's your senior lead officer, and we also have Detective Jack Maloney. So we have a lot planned for this evening, and I know chocolate chip cookies is not a good dinner. And we're not just about safety, we're about health, right? So I'm going to quickly get through this presentation, and at the end of my quick presentation, well, not too quick, not too long, the officers will speak to you and give you a lot of information, and then we're going to open it up for questions after that. All right, so we're going to cover some basics here. There we go, wrong one. So thank you very much to our 32 Miracle Mile block captains. We are the first neighborhood in the entire universe to have so many block captains. Just kidding, but we are in Los Angeles to have this many block captains in a neighborhood like ours. Stand up tonight if you're one of our 32 block captains. I told you I would be nervous, but I'm going to. Thank you so much. Block captains are the most important people you will know. They are huge. So there's a lot of moving parts to a neighborhood watch, but it all comes down to your block captain. And as I've said before, I've arm twisted them into this and said it's super easy, which they will agree, but it could be as easy as getting a list. It could be more complicated than that, but it doesn't matter. On your block, when you have a block captain, you have a rocking good block, all right? And of our 32 block captains, there are several that I want to call out that have actually gone as far as having a neighborhood watch meeting. And these blocks are awesome blocks because they have really worked together, and I'll tell you about the benefits as we go through the presentation. Constance Watson, Jeanette Kokura, Kyle Tran, Eliza Duran, Seth Reed, Polly Derman, Jennifer O'Brien, Kevin Berlin, Charles Rogers, Madrid Gee, and Audrey Sheck. So hats off to you guys for doing, not only organizing the block, getting a roster, but actually having a meeting and coming together. I've been to several of your meetings, and I'm always impressed, and it tells me that what we're doing as a neighborhood watch committee is the right thing to do. So the raffle tickets, as you have, Kimberly has been so kind to help sell, the raffle tickets are to fund the neighborhood watch signs. And it basically is because it's going to keep my marriage together. Okay, all jokes aside, I did go ahead and front some money for the signs because I believed in them so much. And along with Tao and her help designing them, we've created a fantastic turn. It sends a message. We'll talk about this later on, but the signs are, the raffle tickets tonight, the proceeds go to pay me back. So if you could be so kind, block captains will be asked to get donations from their block as well. But tonight it's kind of fun, and you're really very lucky to be here because we have a raffle. So for $1 a ticket, you get a chance at one of our awesome raffle prizes. You didn't know you were going to have fun tonight, did you? For $5, you get 6 tickets. I'm kind of leaning towards you getting the $5 6 tickets thing. It just looks better for you. And your chances at $25 milk jar cookie gift card, a $35 India Tandoori gift card. These are our local businesses. And I love doing this because it told me that we're not only a good neighborhood with neighbors, but we have great businesses to support. And they really, in just a few minutes, I was able to get a few gift cards to create a little fun raffle for you. And also, Officer Rodriguez doesn't know about this one, but he will be under arrest if he does not agree to do this. So whoever pulls this home security assessment coming their way by Officer Rodriguez and myself. I'm actually going to train him and show him what to look for, but don't worry about that. Your home is going to be safe. And then, of course, the $100 spot of the Beverly Hills gift card will probably get you to the bar and an appetizer, and that's it. So. But go for it, all right? So we're going to raffle these off throughout the evening, and if you haven't purchased your ticket, please do, and at any point, raise your hand, and Vanna White will be coming around to take your dollars, preferably your $5 bill. And I have a Venmo address if you would prefer that, so you can bring cash. All right, let's move along. Of course, thank you to our sponsors in this $10 cookies, LAPD, and Bethel Lutheran Church, who's been incredibly generous with this evening and helping us out, setting up. All right, a little housekeeping. Are you a member of American Mile Residential Association? Raise your hand if you are. Okay, raise your other hand if you want to encourage others to become members, because this is your neighborhood association. For $25 annual membership, you are in the loop. You get to know a lot of information. I was embarrassed not to know how much MMRA does for us. And as a board member, I can tell you it is fantastic. We are really, really lucky and gifted to have such an amazing organization. So please consider that. Membership forms are in the back. All right, so it's LAPD and Crime Stats 101. If you've heard my speech before, you've come to one of these, and that's why you're VP offenders, because you were so excited you wanted to come back. I'm going to power through this so that I don't bore you. If you're new and you haven't heard it before, it's going to be on a few websites pretty soon. I'm really happy to announce that I didn't only arm twist block captains, I was able to arm twist Captain Odo and Captain McCraney. They have approved a 3-step neighborhood watch plan that was born in Miracle Mile. Important to you is because when our surrounding neighborhoods are secure and there's less crime, it makes it better for everybody. So just making Miracle Mile super special with incredibly gorgeous signs and having the lowest rate of crime in Los Angeles is good, but it only works when our surrounding neighborhoods do it as well. So all of this will be uploaded to an LAPD our community relations website shortly. Okay, so this is Miracle Mile. Your boundaries are Wilshire to the north, San Antonio to the south, Fairfax to the west, and La Brea to the east. That's our outlined in red is Miracle Mile. We are part of Wilshire Division, and there are 9 basic car areas. We have Officer Kari Jones, and I'll go back one, sorry, I can't, and Bethel Rodriguez here tonight for our senior lead officers, which is your community policing. These are some crime stats that you see. CompStat puts them out, and we can dissect numbers all night long. And what you really want to know is crime really going up, and is this a really scary place, and how's my property value, and can I walk to Wilshire safely? Yes, you can. We are safe. Violent crime is down, especially since the 90s, but we are seeing a rise in property crime, particularly burglaries, theft of vehicles, burglaries, and porch pirates. So that's why we're here tonight. But overall, I think last month, Captain Odo was saying too that it was a good month, but the prior month it wasn't, so you'll see overall there's like a 31% increase in crime from 2016 to 2018. So things vary. It's hard to look at the numbers, and instead of sticking to a number and freaking out at night, you just need to know that overall we are safe, but there's too much crime going on here, and it's crimes of opportunity, and it's crimes that you can prevent. And there's Mary Jackson, Bethel Rodriguez, and Officer Kari Jones couldn't make it this evening. However, he predominantly has a larger portion of Miracle Mile, but we really know who has the power, and that's Officer Rodriguez, right? Would you not agree? If you go to crimemapping.com, you'll see all the crime that's happening. You can actually have a mobile app on your phone and put in any address, whether you're in Arkansas or California, and decide how safe is it, what's going on. You can see all the crime from yesterday. I think actually it's current up to 2 days. You can go back and you can say, I just want to see arson, I just want to see assault with a deadly weapon, and you can find crime anywhere. So I do track the crime and the numbers for the area, and what I like to see is every 3 months where we're going, and just basically we consistently see, as I just told you, it's the burglaries, it's the burglary theft of the vehicle, and it's really not violent crime. But with that said, we have had let's see, from June 22nd until September 22nd, it was 10 assaults with deadly weapons. It was 2 aggravated spousal assaults, aggravated assault with spouse, 4 brandishing weapons or exhibiting deadly weapon, no rapes, 5 robberies, 1 arson, 16 burglaries, no attempted burglaries, and 25 burglary from a vehicle, and 5 theft from the vehicles, 28 petty theft, grand theft, or shoplifting, and 11 grand theft audits. And that was all within the boundary I showed you. So that's not Brea, that's not down by Wilshire Vista, that's not Quick Fair. That's right here in those boundaries that I showed you. All right, and for the most part, those are in our neighborhoods. Some of them are on Wilshire, La Brea, the businesses, but they usually are about 75% residential burglaries. And I thought I'd share with you, just, you can really read that even with glasses, but in the past month, 2 assaults with deadly weapons, 1 robbery, 4 burglaries, 11 burglary from vehicles, 5 thefts from vehicles, 7 theft petty, whether it's petty, grand, or shoplifting, 1 vehicle stolen, and 2 bicycles stolen. Of the burglaries in the past 4 weeks, there was 1 on 800 South Ogden, which a block captain just informed me today was a spec house, so I don't know exactly what was taken, how it was secured or not secured. And 1100 South Dunsmuir, it's very coincidental that it was on a block that has an active neighborhood watch. It was a residence that did not participate in the email, the text alert, or had ever been given information. They were given, but they did not want to receive information regarding our neighborhood watch program. So it breaks my heart because there's a significant loss at that home regarding personal property. 1,000 block of La Brea and also 57 in the San Vicente. Raise your hands if you want to buy a raffle ticket, because Kimberly's coming around. That's right. That's right. Keep it coming. Now, if I don't go home tonight and that credit card gets checked off, I'm just kidding. Okay. Right. So, what are some of those crimes? And you've seen this before. I don't lose interest in watching these videos because this is it. This is not like you see it on TV and it happened 1,000 miles away. Or this is exactly what they do when they come and check your car all night long, and they want to know if they can get into your vehicle or not. This was on Dunsmuir. This was about, all this has been about 6 to 12 months. And when he didn't succeed there, he went all over. And back to my daughter's car a second time. All right, and when they tried to break into a home, but the resident came home, they were startled, they jumped the fence, they went over, and they took off their gloves, they hid from the camera, they took off their hoodies, they went through the gate that was locked on one side, they could get out from the inside, thankfully, and the homeowner was home, and was unaware they were even ever there. They came out onto the other side, and this is in broad daylight, and this would be March of 2017. And they went down the street and off they go, heading southbound on Dunsmuir. But then they got a pickup ride from their buddies, because they had earbuds in, they communicated, it didn't work, we're over on Dunsmuir, we're escaping, they had a pre-plan, they paced the area, and they knew exactly how they could get away. Off they went. This video is very important. It was used with LAPD, and they were able to make some connections and arrests. Yes, and that's what we're going for. Also, it's from people soliciting that they're selling gift cards. They represent LA High. They don't, so please don't open your door. We'll talk about that when you have your block meeting. I can tell you exactly what to do about door opening and when you should and shouldn't open it. And I've made a few mistakes myself. They do smash and grab. So what are we seeing? We're seeing a lack of awareness and complacency of criminal activity, which we know will lead to further development of crime and have a negative impact on your quality of life. That's why I'm here. That's why you're here. We want to make sure we avoid that. So quickly, there's AB 109, Prop 4757. It was the changing the felony down to a misdemeanor, and it was basically emptying out the prisons and keeping it for the most violent criminals. Drug addiction, homelessness, mental illness, limited LAPD resources, unsecured homes and vehicles, lack of effective organization, collaboration. So the 800 block of Ogden, nobody even knew that that happened until I saw it as a statistic and asked the block captain. So that block captain who's reached out, has been active in the block, has had a block meeting, still doesn't have 100% participation. So that house was not secured, and that person wasn't part of the system. So that is where we need to have more organization and collaboration. Also, LAPD officers, we have 1 for every 426 residents. In Los Angeles and New York, they have 1 for every 228. And so basically, it's the statistics from 1969 showing you how many officers we had then compared to now. The population has gone up by almost 1 million. And so what we're not doing is, as a community, we have a lack of awareness of reporting, under-reporting, or over-reporting. We're fearful of what suspicious behavior. We don't want to be labeled racist. We don't want profiling. We don't want to, maybe it's our neighbor's friend. We don't know. We're busy. We're not reporting our crimes. We think that LAPD should come to us and get a report because somebody opened our car and took a pair of sunglasses. And that's not the case. We have to go down to the station. We're not protecting our own property adequately. LAPD, Wilshire Division had 34% last winter in the spring of unsecured properties. That means the burglaries were a result of you leaving a window open or a front door or not securing your home well enough. And we also have a system in place for communication with neighbors, island mentality, so you just take care of your home, you're going to come, you get nuggets of information tonight, you're going to take it home, you're going to do maybe one or two of the things that you saw tonight that you feel secure so you can go to work tomorrow and everything's good. And that's what we don't want. We want you to be part of your block. We want you communicating, we want you to work as a team. What I have to say tonight does not work if you don't have that team mentality to really find out who your neighbors are. But wait, there is something we can do as a neighborhood. It's called the Miracle Mile Neighborhood Watch, and if you have, if you're from surrounding neighborhoods, please be my guest. Just get rid of the Miracle Mile and put it in your neighborhood, and you can take that name and run with it. Changing how we neighbor to deter crime and build community. So I don't sit up watching CSI all night, and I do go down to LAPD's Wilshire Station as a CPAP member, but I really am not. This isn't exciting to me because it's really important that you get the message from me. It is about building community, okay? So a lot of people don't, it's the same thing. Raise your hand if you have an earthquake preparedness kit, you're ready to survive independently for 2 weeks, put out your fires, and extract your neighbors out from cement blocks. Okay? So it's the same thing with crime prevention. You really haven't done your part, and it's tough. Nobody really wants to do it. It's stressful. We got a lot going on, we got politicians, we got all sorts of stuff, we got road rage, we'll talk about that. And so you're like, please, I just need to get home. You're freaking me out. Don't freak out, but realize what you're doing, what we're doing together is building community. And at the end of it, you're going to be like, this is a nice place to live, which it is. I feel comfortable. I had a burglary during fumigation. I had a prowler on the property, who by the way was just prosecuted, and he was a drug addict, schizophrenic, who had committed 2 armed robberies prior to being at our home, and he was convicted. I feel safe. We've had cars broken into. I feel safe. I don't worry. I do check myself. I do make mistakes, and the next day I try to be better at it. Mostly it's my children. Actually, it's my husband. But we are working in progress. And what we're doing is we're really loving where we live because we feel safe. And I tell everybody, if you find a zip code where you are so safe, and if you want to move there, let me know where that is. If it doesn't exist in the 400 miles. By the time you got 400 miles, you're in San Francisco, and good luck there, because I was on Market Street last month. Okay, so what is Neighborhood Watch? So it's not vigilante, it's not the negative things you've heard, it's not profiling, it's not going out with your kitchen knife and saying, get the beef off my property. It is none of those things. It is you working as a team, intelligently protecting yourself first, and moving forward with an action plan to activate the system. It is block organization and the 3-step neighborhood watch program. Okay? Blocks need to be strong and resilient so that neighborhoods can be strong and resilient. Where is this picture from? Raise your hand if you know. Thank you. This was from Olympic in Dunsmuir. Not everything's happening on Dunsmuir, I promise you. It's just that I like to report here. I have a surveillance camera recording it. But it's an example of what happens in the community. This took every resource in Wilshire Division. I think we borrowed resources from Olympic Division as well. So this was an arson from a gentleman that had gone out and started a fire in a microwave. He ended up hanging from the window out there. I thought he was going to drop to his death. They had to call in backup. They needed a ladder. They had to distract him. They had to go up on the roof, put out the fire, and they had to taser him and get him down and put him in jail. That takes a lot of resources. If we are not ready to come together as a community, this caused traffic jams. This caused a lot of problems. There was a lot of confusion. LAPD was doing an amazing job. LAFD was there from 68 and Engine Company 61. This took a lot. This is why, if you imagine this was a different scenario and there's a disaster or something, who are you going to rely upon? And I'm not here to freak you out, I'm just talking facts. It's not when, it's not if, but when. So we need to be a strong and resilient community. Does it work? It works. Yes, it does. So I asked a neighbor who lives in Miracle Mile, after she had activated the system, she has done everything she's supposed to do as a block captain. Her block is amazing. I won't tell you which, it's not a competition, but it is. She said to me, I said, how is it going with the trespasser that you had a problem with it? It was a transient, he was breaking the law, a lot was going wrong, illegal drug use, all sorts of stuff. Finding paraphernalia, he was abusive verbally, they couldn't get rid of him, it was a lot, big problems with vacant property, and the owner of the property was not as cooperative at the beginning. She said, the trespasser hasn't been seen for a few months now, The most effective solution was when all of our neighbors came together and communicated every single time we saw him. We had an all hands on deck approach. If he was spotted, we would all jump into action. Somebody would call patrol, another person would call LAPD, and a third would call the owner of the home. We did this for weeks until the guy was arrested. Okay, that's a success story. That's a success story. That person was committing a crime on the street. Nobody knew it. It just looked like a home. Nobody knew that that empty home had a very resistant problem. And it goes back to the mentality that if we don't come together as a group and take care of it, it's going to change the quality of life for you. Did you? Okay. Truth be told, this was about 1 a.m. This was about 1 a.m. and I said, you know what, I gotta keep going. Because that meeting, they're tired, they didn't work, it's been a rough day. So please buy your raffle tickets, because it's not $100. Okay, I had a milk jar cookie, I actually paid for it. I'm like, no, don't worry about it. And it was the best cookie ever. That's one of the raffle prices tonight. Okay, block organization, really quickly. Neighbors communicate, they communicate with the block captain, it bubbles up to LAPD and patrol, you have a Miracle Mile coordinator, and the communication goes around. So raise your hand if you've seen posts on Nextdoor about Miracle Mile and watch. Oh, wait. What are you raising? Yeah, those were all horrible ticket sales. I'm not kidding. I swear. I'm not kidding. Okay. LAPD is fantastic. We are working together, and they have been really, really helpful. So you'll see posts from community relations as well regarding these meetings. We do have meetings, you have block meetings, there's communication. I have had a lot of success with people finding out what's wrong with their block, what's right with the block, meeting neighbors and coming together all because of this system here. What can you do is you need to organize your block and post a neighborhood block meeting. That's all you need to do if you're a block captain. If you're not a block captain, sign up tonight. If you want to help your block captain, you can have a better block. At the very least, just get a roster going. Now your block is organized, email your block, start a text alert system, which we'll talk about later. A lot of what you're going to miss out on tonight is because I'm not sharing with you the neighborhood watch plan. That will happen when you have your block meeting. Raise your hand if you had a neighborhood watch block or three-step neighborhood watch plan where your block came together and you guys talked about the issues and you went through the entire packet with me, or I gave the presentation tonight. Okay, so we'll talk about that later. I can come and give a 1-hour presentation and really help get your block organized. Unless you're outside of Miracle Mile, that would be a feat. Neighborhood watch plan. Really quickly, it's when blocks captains get together and they mark their target. They go through a secured property packet. LAPD 24 response, private patrols, utilizing your resources, guys. We're not utilizing LAPD. They actually can come and do a full buffet dinner, and I didn't know. Just kidding. What they do, all jokes aside, they have been instrumental in helping us with things like squatters, transients. They have provided an amazing amount of communication. We've never had this before because they didn't know who to communicate with, and now they do because you're organized. Quickly, we would go through how to harden your target and secure your property with the 24/7 response from patrol, alarm. We go over how to answer your door, surveillance cameras, the benefits, which ones are good or bad. Everything from the securing the front of your property, garages, gates, lights, package theft, mail, even taking care of your pets, not taking care of making sure they're safe. Inside your home, lights, alarms, doors, don't raise your hand, because you're tired of doing that. Close your eyes and think about right now. Visualize your bedroom. Visualize where your jewelry is, where the contents of your wallet is, where you put that very special thing, where it is your diploma from Harvard Law School, where do you keep all this stuff? You keep it in your bedroom, in your closet. You think you're really smart because you hid it under something. You're not being smart. I wasn't smart either, and they just took everything. So we teach you exactly what to do with your property so that you can keep it. We also go through patrol, LAPD, and how they work in conjunction with 24/7 response armed patrol. The response options you have to a burglary is if you have an alarm system, you haven't been made aware of all the things that happens, like if you're not connected to the monitoring system and LAPD gets called, or connected to the monitoring system but you don't have patrol and it's a false call, it's about $375. First offense, second is like a DUI at $1,500. I don't know. I would avoid that and get control. And we go through all that. We also show you, actually, you have seen the slide before, it's another one of my favorites. It shows on the very right, there's no patrol, there's some patrol in the middle, and the green section is 24/7 private patrol. working with LAPD in Los Feliz, and this is the statistics from March of 2018. And we teach all about what suspicious behavior, what to report, who you call, how to activate the system, how to have a text app on your text alert system on your block. So on my block, when there's suspicious behavior, and not like, oh my God, somebody's driving, whatever. It's somebody is doing something that is suspicious because the block has been trained on what is suspicious and what isn't. So it's not the door knocker that doesn't look right. It's the door knocker that doesn't look right that just went down the driveway and he doesn't belong there, and you've activated your system alerting your block by a text app system. Open up the app, one message out goes to everybody on the block who signed up. It's been super effective. And we go through how to communicate, including nextdoor.com, bring to the neighborhood, and roamtocrimemountain.com. And these are the lawn signs. This is a huge part of it. We also have a system in place for you to notify your neighbors, Pullman, and nanny. This is all part of neighborhood watch that you're going to get if you organize your block. And by raffle tickets tonight. This is call the police. A lot of people don't know. So one thing I do want you to leave tonight knowing is that you call 911 when it involves an emergency, a crime in progress. Anytime you need immediate police presence, fire, or paramedic support, you call 911. There is a tremendous abuse of 911 and it ties up the system. This is part of our limited resources, and you know when to call and when to not call, or call the 1877 Ask LAPD is huge, or the dispatch for non-emergency situations or reporting of suspicious behavior. You can also do a text alert, but there are some limitations to it. I just want you to know regarding connectivity and stuff like that, but it is very important to know you can't text under certain conditions. Calling crime control is hugely important, so consider that to get immediate response as well. And also, do not follow or confront persons with suspicious behavior. Report all behavior to your, or suspicious activity to your senior officer, and the numbers are there. This is something you should have on your phone. When you get the digital version of it, you can copy it and put it into your phone. I leave it at home as well for my kids to use if they need to activate the system immediately. And also to use a band app or a text alert system. And Nextdoor has an urgent alert, so if you see something, you can notify just on, if you're on Nextdoor, it's a social media site, I suggest you all sign up. You only have to check in once in a while. But what you're able to do is see exactly, put an urgent alert out to your immediate neighbors, and that also has been beneficial when used correctly. Okay, it only works when we come together. So, okay, let's have some fun. First raffle drawing. Have you guys all bought your tickets? Any last minute people who want to do a little, because we're going to do raffle drawing. Number one is for a $25 gift card to the Can I go home tonight? Okay, so shake it up, and then we'll have, do you want to officer do the first drawing?
It goes back in.
Yeah.
All right, first ticket is 157138. 157138.
All right, so the other part of our neighborhood watch meetings is for you to get updated on community police advisory board information. That's monthly meetings that are held. Conrad, is it the third Thursday? I can't get my Thursday straight. Third Thursday, right? And that is where you're all invited to attend, and that is where community policing happens, and you get a lot of information, and if you have certain issues you want to bring up, and you'll see it advertised on nextdoor.com as well. So let's see. Oh, I said right here, the third Thursday. That's why I did this, so I could read it. Road rage. So LAPD reports of criminal road rage incidents have increased 191% from 2010 to 2017. And this is something that our officers tonight will agree with. Chairperson mentioned. It's just mind-boggling, but it's not just giving the birdie anymore. It's getting out of your car with a pipe and slamming on somebody's front hood. So be careful out there and stay calm and drive on. That's my name is Porch Pirates. LAPD reports of stolen packages, and this is not Miracle Mile. This is LA, so come on, it's big, but just so you know, LA reports of stolen packages are up 581% from 2010 to 2017. It's expected to get worse, and today, yesterday is a whole different story, but packages are a concern, and having them stolen is no fun. Some of them, a lot of people are complaining on Nextdoor as well. Not that that's the Bible or anything, but you report quite a bit. And it's heartbreaking. There are things you can do. Where will you learn how to keep your packages, you guys? Here, at your neighborhood watch meeting. You get the 3-step neighborhood watch plan. The homeless count, okay, so there's a rise in Miracle Mile. LASA, the Los Angeles Homeless Services Association, put out, they had a homeless count. They produced all sorts of information, bar graphs, pie charts, stuff that was way over my head. We're part of, not the Miracle Mile, we're part of the Mid-City, which is not really Mid-City West, but what you need to know is that in their Miracle Mile, basically, it's a rise in our area as well, but there's 224 unsheltered individuals, women, children, elderly. That is up from 203 in 2017, and it was only 164 in 2016. So I think this is something we're all seeing, and I consider homeless people, honestly, our neighbors as well. So the sooner that we embrace it and find out what's going on and how we can help and get the resources, the better it's going to be for everybody. And there's a difference between homelessness and there's criminal homelessness and issues around that. So I understand everyone has fears and concerns, but when you embrace it and you understand the resources that are out there, you can help some of these neighbors of ours. And overall, there's 623 men, women, children, elderly in Wilshire Division. So that's a lot. Let's see. So as a result, the LASA has put out now a new portal for reporting. It's not reporting as in you are, oh, it's almost person I can report that because that doesn't belong in my neighborhood. It is, there's someone I see and she needs resources and I really want to get her help, and this is how you activate the system to get her help. And what they do is they come out with a team of people and I believe it's within 72 hours. This is a great website or portal. I really suggest you download that to your phone as well and start thinking about who in your neighborhood might need that or benefit from it. It does not mean you call or use it for medical or mental health emergencies. Use 911. Report crime or illegal activity as well to those numbers. It's not for bulky item pickup. Use 311 or my LA 311 app, which is fantastic, and you'll learn all about that at your meeting. There's so much you can do with that app. Illegal dumping or graffiti removal, this is not what you would do this for. This is for a person who is in need of resources and you want to connect them into the system and get them help. Oh, coyotes. I put that up here because it's neighborhood watch, and it's not all about criminals, but there are coyotes, and they're sweet and adorable, and I don't know a lot about them, but I do know that it's your small pets you need to be concerned with, and if you're daring enough to post it on Nextdoor, because some people get butchered when they do, but what you want to do is you want to get informed and know how to protect yourself, your animals, and there was, on Richland, that's where there was a couple of them, only it's the same guy was around. Yeah. And there's some websites you can go to about that. All right, so what can you do? You can organize your blog, make sure your blog has received a 3-step neighborhood watch presentation, host a meeting, sign up for patrol, that's private patrol, and utilize the 24 response system they have, text alert app, and to activate the system. Don't just say, I don't know, I need to work. Activate the system when you need to. All right, what can you do? You can also help me organize more blocks, because clearly I'm having a lot of fun with this, but I have a few more blocks in Miracle Mile that I need organized, and that means I need help handing out flyers so that I can host a meeting. People come out. Let me tell you some success stories from it. I was on a few blocks around here, and I thought nobody's going to show up, and about 15 to 20 people came out. Hauser, whether it was 800-900, whether it was 1100, 1000 block, and they got together and they learned about, they said hello to each other, they didn't know each other, some knew each other, how are you doing? And they got together and immediately I got a block captain. 2 great block captains out of that. It was a huge success. Thank you, Birds. And what came out of it though was the issues that they're having on their block, and those now were issues that they all could identify and work together on. One of them even included a vacant property, and immediately I gave them a ton of resources, put them in contact with Officer Perry Jones, emailed him, the block captain emailed, they know how to post signs now, there's things you can download, the landlord gets involved, we have a city prosecuting attorney. Did anybody know this before? We didn't, as long as it's an empty house. Now we know that one in Ogden was empty and it was broken into. So coming together as a block really helps out and making sure you're active on that block. And if you're all here tonight, chances are you're pretty involved, but you need to get the rest of your neighbors involved. So don't leave it to your block captain to do the heavy lifting. Knock on those doors, talk to people, be friendly, say hello. And it also helps because that's when the streets that are super friendly, you know, with like Miss Kravitz, but the friendly Miss Kravitz, those are the streets that the burglars don't want to go to because there's too many people out there watching, talking, and suddenly it's like, this place is locked and loaded, let's go. How about Detective Jack Maloney? Now this is for $35 to India's Tandoori. Fantastic place for dinner. Also a lunch buffet. Very nice. I'm parking in back too.
Okay. Winner, winner. He doesn't have his glasses. 157.
157.
257.
257. Do we have
You're in the room.
157, 257. All right, we're doing pretty good on time. Is anyone bored?
No.
Anybody want cookies? You can still buy raffle tickets. I'm not thinking about that either. So, I think I missed the slide out. I think we're supposed to go in the beginning. I'm sorry. There you are, Officer Rodriguez. Give me a picture. And that's his area. And his area has one more time, Miracle Mile, because we are getting organized. And we do have, oh, I know why, you're supposed to speak. That's why it's up there. So I was looking at this time to turn it over to Senior Lead Officer Bethel Rodriguez, who is going to, he got a bunch of questions that from the community. Some of you were interested and had some concerns, questions, so he is going to address them this evening. He's going to give you an update on the crime, and then we're going to turn it over to Detective Maloney, and they can work together.
Perfect. All right, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Bethel Rodriguez. I'm the senior lead officer, one of the senior lead officers for Wilshire Division. The area that I'm responsible for is 7 out of 47, which goes from where Wilshire Station is on Venice Boulevard to the North Hollywood Wilshire Boulevard. East and west goes to Redondo to Crenshaw. So that's the area that I'm responsible for. Each senior lead officer has a basic car that they're responsible for. So they come out to communities and do crime trail information, give you the stats. Obviously, Kari took care of that tonight, so I'm not going to go into detail about the numbers because she did that for me today. One of the other responsibilities, and the reason why I'm going over what senior lead officers do is because that was one of the questions asked by you, the committee members, what do senior lead officers do? So I'm going into that, I'm jumping into that right now. So part of our responsibilities as senior lead officers, like I mentioned, is to go to community meetings, give you updates on crime trends, talk about prevention as well, which is very important because if we're not coming out here to just give you information about what crimes are occurring and not giving you information as to how to prevent that from happening, then we're not doing our job either. We can't just point the finger and say, here you go, this is what you got, deal with it. So we're problem solvers. Not just in that aspect, but also when it comes to neighbor-on-neighbor disputes, which can escalate into crimes. So before it turns into a crime, when we get calls about a neighbor that's having an argument with another neighbor, we as senior lead officers come out, talk to the neighborhood, talk to the neighbors, deal with that aspect, quality of life issues. If you have transient problems in the area, we go out there in that specific target area, find out who the individual is, the transient, how long he's been there, we try to get him services. We try the more humane approach now. This is the new LAPD. We're not just going and arresting people anymore because homelessness is not a crime. And that is the approach that the department has taken. More so because of the fact that it is a housing issue, not a police matter. When there are homeless people committing crimes, obviously, we do go out there and arrest. So that's still taken into consideration, okay? What else do we do? As senior lead officers, obviously we engage in events, we engage the community in activities, such as the open house that we recently had at Wilshire Station, where we invited the community to come out this past Sunday to come into our home and look at what we do as police officers. We even have our FOSS machine, which is the big screen where officers go and are given scenarios, and you have a fake gun, and basically you're given a scenario and you play out the scenario and you're the police officer. So it gives the community an opportunity to see what we have to react to in certain scenarios. And it's a reality check for some folks. And it's like, wow, really? I just shot the mailman. Yeah, that was the mailman. So it's interesting because you're giving a scenario and you have seconds to react. So open house was fun. Again, that's one example of how we engage the community as senior lead officers. And again, going back to crime trends, we actually do make appointments with community members who have been victims of crimes and want a walkthrough, as Kari was mentioning, that we offer one as raffle tonight for you. So if you win that, I'll be the one walking out there, meeting you at your home, and walking through. We don't have to wait for you to become a victim. If we can prevent that from happening, we can do that. So we'll go out there, we'll look at your home, we'll look at the structure, we'll look at the windows. A lot of these homes were built back in the 1920s, as I was talking to some of the community members here. And obviously, when we're talking about old homes, these locks, these locking mechanisms in the 1920s are no good anymore. So we got to update that. So we'll do a walk, we'll look at that. That's the kind of stuff that senior lead officers like to do also. Let's see, what was the, again, going back to other things we do, we also assist our detectives in follow-ups. A lot of the time our patrol officers don't have the ability or the time to go out and do follow-ups with detectives, and what I mean by that is after the crime has been committed, and there's evidence or there's follow-up information, meaning there's a possible suspect, there's a license plate, we got information, we have leads. So we go out with our detectives to do those follow-ups, to do those leads. So that's some of the responsibilities that the senior lead officers have. We have that luxury because we have that time available to us. Unfortunately, for patrol officers, they're going from call to call to call on a daily basis. So they don't have that flexibility that we have as senior lead officers. We're problem solvers, basically. But we try to as much as we can.
I was just going to check something. It's another thing that I mentioned earlier. Anybody who happens to use or have any of the home security video systems, Ring, Nest, whatever they may be, those are also excellent, in my opinion, as follow-up detective work. It's not just your home, you're the victim. There's always a direction of travel, and everyone focuses in pretty much just on the victim's location. And if anybody else in the vicinity, like I said, who is part of the neighborhood watch, can just take it upon themselves, when they hear about it, when you share that information, we try to do as much as we can in the general area, but the car that we might give a description on may have been, as you've seen some of the videos, waiting right around the block in front of your house where we can catch a clean plate, and that removes them from continuing that problem when we identify them. So that's always something, another way that you guys can always pitch in and help out.
And we're obviously, as senior lead officers, we're a point of reference for you for the police department. We're ambassadors to the police department to represent the department and make contact with you. A prime example of that is when we have problem locations that we have throughout the city, such as vacant properties, which can be a problem for certain communities. I had one in my area, and I don't know if any homeowners from Mansfield community are here who dealt with that. 1300 block. Thank you for coming.
I don't live there, but the daycare my baby goes.
Oh, you did? Yes. Hi. How are you? So I spoke to a lot of folks in that community who were dealing with that problem location. And the reason why that's important to bring up, it can happen anywhere. It can happen in your community as well, in your neighborhood. And what they were dealing with was a vacant property that had been vacant for almost a year, and these squatters just moved in, broke the locks off, just moved right in, changed their IDs, they went straight to DMV, had their address put there on their ID, renewed their IDs with that address, turned on the power, went to the water power, they did everything, by the book, the gas company, everything was under their name. And ultimately what we found out was through our investigation, with the help of our eyes, because you guys are our eyes. You guys, we depend, we rely on you guys. And that's why neighborhood watch is so important. Because without you guys, we can't do our job as police officers. And that's the key here. That community, I talk to so many people, and she's one of them, and I'm so happy that she's here. And it brings a smile to my face, because when you are proactive, it makes our job that much easier. And that's what we were dealing with. We were dealing with a problem location in their community that was affecting crime in the area. They were out there doing drugs, selling drugs. It was a dope house. And through our investigative resources, we found out, in fact, that they were doing that. And I won't go into detail with that, but we have our own resources that we utilize to confirm that information. And we did so. And that's, again, through you guys who are our eyes. Without you calling me and telling me as a senior lead officer, Officer Rodriguez, there's a problem in this community, We have a vacant property. We've seen people coming in and out. It looks very suspicious. There's a flow of pedestrian traffic going in and out of that house. A lot of vehicles pulling up and leaving. An exchange of hands. We don't know what's going on, but there's an exchange of hands. That is indicative of possible sales of narcotics for us. And when you describe these things to us, that helps us understand what's happening, and we can move forward with our investigation to do our job to help you. So that's what's important about Neighborhood Watch. That's a key right there. The Neighborhood Watch, that you are our eyes. Okay, you're our ears. You're out there, you're listening, you're watching, and you're actually reporting all this information. I can't tell you how many text messages I would get daily about activity at that location. And it was overwhelming at times, and I sometimes felt helpless because I wanted to do so much more. So much to the point, and I wish that camera wasn't recording, that I actually went against our city attorney's advice to go door knock at that house. And I just went up there and I said, hey, I'm a senior lead officer in this community. I know every person that lives on this block, and I don't know you. You know what that tells me? That you don't belong here. Do you know why? Because I called the bank that owns this property, and I know you're illegally here, and you're squatters. So guess what? When the sheriff's come to evict you, I'll be right behind them to arrest you and everyone else in this house for trespassing.
And you were.
It takes a village. It takes a village, okay? But I thank that community for being involved. I thank all our resources, our narcotics unit, all the other senior lead officers that came that day to help me, the sheriff's department that was able to coordinate that eviction with the search warrant that we did. Because we did a search warrant and an eviction on the same day. So it worked amazing. But it couldn't have happened without the community getting involved. That's the important. And the reason why I bring that up is because that's one of the questions. Right here. It says, is Neighborhood Watch program really worth my time? Can I just make an example why it's so important? That's the reason why. Okay? That's why it's important. Okay? And also the video that Kari kind of briefly touched upon, which was the burglars. You may think your home is secure. You may think that you have a castle that is completely 100% secure. Believe me, if they want to get in, they're going to get in. One way or another. These are preventative measures that you take. These are things, tools that slow burglars down. It may even make them think twice about it when they're working so hard at it, trying to get inside their house, that they're going to say, you know what, screw this. This is taking too long. I'm causing too much attention to myself. I'm leaving. Oh, now her neighbor's looking at me, jumping over the fence. Oh, great. I'm just going to go next door or next block over. So that's why it's important, okay? One of the questions was, so, let's see. Okay, so someone talked about reporting suspicious behavior. Isn't that going to lead to profiling? The answer is no, because we're talking about behavior. When we show up and we give you crime trends and we talk about certain crimes, we're giving you a description of a suspect. That doesn't mean every purple guy is committing these crimes. That doesn't mean you're going to look at some guy walking down the street with walking his dog and profile him and say, oh, that's the purple guy that we're talking about. No. You know why? Because if you know your neighbors, then you don't have to worry about that. I had a situation at one of my meetings where the individual told me, I don't have time. I don't have time to go door knock my neighbor to just introduce myself and bake them some cookies. I'm too busy. I have 2 jobs. I'm just too busy. I'm sorry. I said, you don't have 1 minute of your life to give just to introduce yourself to your neighbor to your left and right and in front? I think that's a poor excuse. I think everyone should make that possible. Because in my block, I know everyone. And it's not because I'm a police officer, but because I know how important that is. Because I've been a victim of crime. Not once, but twice. And as a police officer. Okay? So, can it happen to anybody? Yeah, it happened to me twice. So, that's why it's important to know your neighbors. I don't care how busy anyone is. I'm very busy. I'm going to get home late tonight. Okay? But I know Tom in front. I know Wayne on my right. And I know Mario on my left. And I'm good. I'm good with that. I feel comfortable with that because I know they're watching my house. I know they're watching my family and taking care of us. And that's what's important. Okay? So if you don't have the time, make the time. Okay? Alright, next question. As far as What are the new rules? Dealer plates. What types of plates should we be alerted to? Okay, what we're looking at right now, there's a certain trend with vehicles that are using paper plates. And Detective Maloney can attest to that. A lot of our suspects are using paper plates. So that way, they take off their plates so their vehicles can't be identified. They won't be identified when they go out and commit their crimes. All right? Or they're renting cars. A lot of rental cars are being used also. But we have our own resources to figure out who these guys are as they rent their cars. So even if you get those plates and it's a rental company, we can still find out who it was that did it. Okay? So that's what's important. When it comes to paper plates, if you see these vehicles, that suspicious behavior that Kari was talking about earlier, when you see these guys getting out of these cars, or like the video shows them getting picked up by this car, there's follow-up information. There's ways we can track these cars down. But if you are our eyes, and you're out there and you're paying attention and you're watching the activity, the behavior, the suspicious activity that we're talking about, when they're going from neighbor to neighbor's house, it's not normal for someone who's selling you a product to go look over your fence. Okay? I don't want to offend anybody here, but if you're religious and you're door knocking from door to door and you're trying to sell your religious artifacts or your magazines, you're not a burglar if you're doing that, right? Why do I bring that up? When it comes to the any type of surveillance camera that you may have, it's important that you have two cameras. One in the front, one in the back. Why is that important? Based on that video that you saw. Because every person that comes to your front door isn't going to be a burglar system. Okay? Could be a salesman. Could be a burglar. But they're always going to knock in the front and they're going to go to the back because they don't want to be seen when they break into your house. Once they cross that threshold of your property line, that's when they're trespassing. That's when we should be calling us to let us know. I have someone who's trespassing on my property. Please send the police. That's indicative of a burglar. They're now looking through my windows. They're now looking for a way to get into my house. They're checking the doors in the back of my house. Please send the police. They look like X, Y, and Z. They're wearing X, Y, and Z. Make sense? Very important. Okay? One of the other questions was regarding RV. I guess it kind of relates to vehicle loan, right? It's happening everywhere. There are zones throughout the city, and most of the vehicle dwellers know that there are areas where they can park and not park. And the important thing to know about that is that if you have a park in your community, or a school, or a daycare center, they cannot be within 500 feet. Okay, so if that's happening on your block and you do have a school, a park, or a daycare center, then you can call us. You can call the police. We will go out there. We will chat with them, find out what they're doing there, and educate them as well. Because some vehicle dwellers may not have that information yet. They may not have access to the internet. And what we do is we refer them back to the local library so they can obtain the information if they don't know what it is. And we'll guide them in the right direction and give them that information. Okay? And let's see, how is it best? Okay, so one of the other questions was, how is it best to get info to you? Meaning videos from the Ring doorbell or other surveillance cameras. Again, I think I kind of touched on that a little bit, but what's important here is documentation. If you have a video, if you have an incident that occurred, where somebody actually did something and you have evidence and you are the victim of that crime, most important thing is recording it. We have to have documentation because that video is no good to us if there's no documentation to do follow-up, to do leads, to make an arrest. Does that make sense to everyone? Yes? And then you definitely follow up and then just email it to us. You can email it to any of your senior lead officer, Kari Garcia, myself, or the detective that's on the case, and we'll find out who that is for you and guide you in the right direction when it comes to that. Final question was in regards to Nextdoor, and do you monitor social media? We do monitor it. We even have our own community relations office that will put information out there on Nextdoor for your community, depending on what happens. For example, I had a shooting in my area on San Vicente, and it was a 70-year-old man who was shot by robbers. demanding property from you. And that information was put on Nextdoor for my community. I called the president of LANA, of Longwood Neighborhood Association, and I provided her with the information as well, as much information that I could give her. So that's important, obviously. Whatever you put on Nextdoor, however, we cannot monitor. So that's the key there. So all those nasty grams you write about us and how terrible we are, how long you waited, we don't read those. That's private. That's just for you guys to share with. But if you want to share with us, you can send us the link. You can send us a picture, snapshot, whatever, a happy face, sad face, whatever you want to send. But we'll address it. Nextdoor is important. It's big right now. It's being used a lot. The department, our police department, is actually pushing Nextdoor also because it's a great tool to disseminate information to you folks as well. So we are using Nextdoor. It's a crucial piece of information that we need. It's a tool we're using, and it's very effective. So with that, I'll open it up for any other questions that you may have. Yes, sir.
Yeah, hi, Kevin Ridgely. Who or what is preventing the police department from actually enforcing the law? So let's say when I go up to Ralph's and I see a sign there saying no vagabond, no loitering, and I see homeless there with what are camping out our obviously stolen shopping carts that belong to the various supermarkets, and they're there. Why can't any action be done?
So there is a way to handle that. We do have a system in place. We have a transient car, a homeless detail, 2 officers who work the division now, who are assigned to Wilshire Division specifically, who familiarize themselves with a lot of the folks, a lot of homeless folks, and they go out and do a lot of interaction with them, and they know who's who in every area.
This is like more like Mr. Rogers' approach to law enforcement. I mean, they have a sign there that says no loitering, no law, but they're there for months and months at a time.
And are you reporting it to the police?
Are the police blind?
Well, it's not that we're blind. It's that if you're not calling it in, just like the vacant property that I was dealing with that I had no clue about, but when they called me to tell me about it, I went ahead and started doing what I needed to do to take action. It doesn't mean that if I'm driving down the street and I see a transient and he's hanging out and he's loitering, I'm not going to stop and talk to him. Of course I will. That's me. But if the patrol officer is going from a radio call to a radio call, if he doesn't get that radio call,
so let's say when Rouse has a sign there, or Rite Aid has a sign there saying no loitering, or Smart and Final has a no loitering sign there, and they have a person here for 6 months parked out on the sidewalk there, investigating on the sidewalk. Is it up to Rouse or Rite Aid to call it in, or?
They can call it in, but it's also your senior lead officer. And I can tell you, that location you're talking about, I've been with Perry Jones, and we've actually told transients to leave. So I've been there with him. I'm not sure which transient you're talking about that's been there for 6 months, but I can assure you that if you call Perry Jones and you tell him every day, hey, Officer Jones, the transient's still there. Hey, Officer Jones, the transient's still there. Call him every day. And I assure you, he will address it.
Also, the website I gave you, la-hop.org.
That's our whole detail, yes.
Yeah, and there's a lot of information and resources there, and so while homelessness, exactly as you described, a lot of things go on, but there's also a lot of reasons behind it, why it can be a stubborn problem, so we want not only LAPD resources added, but also we have a lot of resources in the community now to help people and give them an opportunity to get off of bench and definitely closer. So you've identified the legitimate issue, we've all seen it, and there's definitely ways to handle it. We would be reporting it to la-hop.org.
And sanitation will go out. We do cleanups with them. So if they're defecating, urinating, leaving a mess behind, sanitation will come out also. So you can report that to 311. Yes. You can actually take a photograph if you have your smartphone.
I'm going to use my cell phone.
Okay. So that's an option is what I'm saying. So that anyone else here would like to use that app, it's great. Yes.
I mean, people need to understand that the reasons why the LAPD enforces homelessness and they deal with homelessness the way they do. You know, there's lots of court cases that have come down, court decisions, and so the LAPD stands are tied in a certain way, but that does not mean that they're not trying to deal with it. And it's really important for people to actually be proactive and report these things. Because if you don't report it, it doesn't exist, because there's just too few officers and there's so much going on.
But we will enforce it. If crimes being committed, we will enforce it. We will arrest. There was somebody else. Yes, sir. I'll get to you, sir. Yes.
Right. I saw in one of the videos they showed some young guys hopping gates. I think it might have been 8-foot high gates.
Yes.
Hopping pretty easily. Is barbed wire allowed in 90036? In a very subtle kind of way, where it's not just like giving us an extra 2 feet of height, but maybe kind of like that.
I don't know what liability there is with the homeowner putting barbed wire up. You'd have to call building safety to get a response.
Another question.
Yes.
If we have a gun and someone enters, do you happen to know what the laws are in terms of?
Okay. I hope you're proficient with your weapon system, and I hope you're ready to use it, and I hope you're ready to articulate why you used it once they break into your house. Yes, by law, you can protect yourself if they break into your home and they are inside your home. Inside the home is the key. Not your backyard, not while they're jumping out of the window, while they're inside your home. I want to be clear about that because I don't want anybody to shoot someone in the backyard and say, well, Officer Rodriguez said, I didn't. Did not. Okay? And be ready. Yes.
Sure. So this is in regard to blocks that already have neighborhood watch installed and they have signs. So for example, on Maslin and 8, there's a big sign, neighborhood watch. So I wonder if I was a criminal, I wouldn't be going to that block. But I might be going to the block to my west or to the east. So I wonder, at a time when there's an official visual sign, is there a statistic to show at the same time, was there an uptick of crime a block, you know, let's say a block to the east or the west?
I couldn't give you the exact study, but there was one made, and statistically, crime did drop. Crime did drop in that area. I'm trying to remember what, it was in the city of LA, I can't remember what part of LA where they did that, and it was very effective.
Yeah, that's a slide from Patrol in Los Feliz that shows that.
Yes.
They consider.
There you go. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention.
We'll be testing hot boys at the end.
Oh, and just to answer to your question about guns, obviously, remember this, if you're going to purchase one, you go, and you leave to work. Where's your gun go? Stays at home, where the burglar's going to break in. So keep that in mind. I'm not trying to deter anyone from buying a gun, because obviously I have but the point is, secure properly. That's my point to that. If you're going to buy a gun, if you're going to own a gun, secure it properly, because it's also a liability if a child gets your gun and hurts himself, it's a liability. Yes, you recommend it? Oh, I can. We'll talk later. All right.
A long time ago, we had the same mailman for decades. The reason I bring this up is he came back to us and he said, I know you guys. If you're moving, you tell me, are you moving? No. And he says, because someone walked into the post office and put in a change of address. And I mean, it could have been devastating. But every week we have a different mailman. And it's like, how can we get a mailman for our area? Because I think it's another layer of protection.
That's a very good question that I would direct to the post office.
Okay.
The postal inspector would probably be on that.
And
Because
also,
that's out of our range.
you probably want to take advantage I'll give you one tip tonight, and you'll learn the rest of the meeting, but you can also do a USPS, what do they call it? Informed delivery, and so that is helpful. Every day you get an email, a picture of the mail that you can expect, so that also is another term. Nice freebie, all right?
And yes, comments.
Can I add, you can also contact your Congress member. I contacted Ted Wu about a postal issue, and I got a call back the next day from someone in his office, which is across the street from my apartment.
And I remember you guys were having an issue with tax thefts also.
Not in my building, but in the
Right, in the
sure, yeah.
Yeah.
I just take them all into my apartment.
Yes, sir. So there you go. All right. Yes, sir.
I know the scooter industry is done.
You like that scooter? Yeah.
And sometimes it's 8 or 9 in front of my house.
Yes.
And I would like to move them from in front of my house.
Sure you can. They move them on.
From the sidewalk in front of our house.
Or not, because I noticed that, you know, the house where we can drive home, they come out of, you know, just crisscrossing down the street in scooters. So I didn't know if I could remove them if they're in front of my house and throw them into the street or across the street.
There's a system in place where people are actually getting paid by 4 p.m. You get these folks that go and pick up the scooters that are getting paid per scooter. So if they can grab them, I don't see why you can't grab it, pick it up,
Where do you put it?
and then move it.
Same thing with all the businesses, people drive up and just drop them at their own feet and box.
Might think to be effective.
You can also call them and tell them to come to immediate.
With the name of your attorney at the bottom.
You can also call I called Bird and reported one who was blocking the drive to the sidewalk, so nobody could get by. So I told them that you can come immediately. You can actually call them.
Are they allowed to leave them on the sidewalk, like people drop them? Like, what are our rights if we see one? Where can we move it to? The problem is you can't really
It's like a person walking the road, it's curb their dog, you know, it's probably a respect issue. People just made it very careless, and they just, as soon as they're done with it,
That's what happens.
they leave it. It's the individual.
Because they keep them upright. The company or the folks that are dropping them off, they're leaving them upright, and they drive off and they go to the next nest. They call it the next nest, and the next nest, and that's where they're doing their drop-offs. And they leave them upright. But it's the folks that are renting them who ride them and then they drop them. They're not putting them upright. They're just dropping them, leaving them. But you got to keep in mind, a lot of these folks that are using them are not adults. They're teenagers. They're kids.
Right, I noticed a lot.
And they're not supposed to be the ones doing it.
That's some things, a lot of states and a lot of police, and
And we have had incidents with crimes involving teenagers and young adults who are using these electric scooters to go around residential areas, door checking the cars.
I don't want
The
to.
handles of your vehicle.
I don't want to assume someone's features because they're putting on, but it seems to me that if anyone in their, it seems to me that anyone in their 20s would walk up through with hoodie and zip it up and walk down the Ridgely and all the side streets is up to no good. And I don't know if that's the right way.
I understand that, but that's what we're talking about. We're talking about looking at behavior, not profiling, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So when their behavior is that, okay, so let's add more to that. Let's add, okay, he's got his hoodie, he's covering his face, and now he's going from car to car, checking the handles. Okay, that's the behavior. That's what we're talking about. Okay, that should get your attention, and that's when you should be calling us. When he's looking over fences, like Detective Maloney's doing, when they're door knocking, and then running to the back of your yard. That's indicative of what we're looking for with these suspects.
If I can interrupt for just a second. So there was an example of a week and a half ago of scooter users on Edgewood, and they were seen by a neighbor in the area as scootering by and checking every handle. And then that resident posted on Nextdoor and also sent a clip to LAPD, which caused, I think you've seen it, I think it was someone in the room, it was you, I can't remember, who came out and saw that they had suspicious behaviors, talked to them. I think you guys ended up arresting them, and they were the ones with, did they have weapons on them?
Yes, they had 2 of them had guns in their backpacks. 2 of our senior lead officers arrested them.
And I was at court this afternoon just for a follow-up that the one actually, based on that, stopped from concerned citizen that notified the senior leads.
Yeah.
He made an arrest. Further investigation, he was booked today for a 211 charge for a robbery.
A robbery and a
what happens after they get arrested and they're out and on and all that, and all the propositions, is not something that I want to focus on tonight, but I want to focus on the process that occurred before the arrest, and that is a result of Neighborhood Watch. That person was educated on a block that has a block captain that was taught about how to activate the system. He was confident that it wasn't just a person on a scooter, but it was the behaviors of checking every single car as they were motoring by at 15 miles per hour, besides the fact that they could be underage, you have to be 18 to drive one, didn't have a helmet. But the point is that it was the behavior that was suspicious that led them to activate the system. They posted it on Nextdoor, and those of us who saw it and were nearby within a time frame of a few minutes were able to use the text app alert system. I went to Band and was able to alert several other blocks of this, and that other resident was able to bubble it up to LAPD with the video of the picture. That is what we're talking about. If you didn't care and you didn't know and you didn't report and you didn't activate the system and you didn't have a system in place, you would have just been like, oh, okay, and you would have gone about your ways. And now we have 2 people off the streets who probably will commit that crime again. This is exactly a fantastic example of communication. So,
yes.
So, we're advised to report everything to make sure that all of our crime statistics meet up to the levels. And clearly there is, statistically there's an uptick in crime. How do we use these crime statistics and uptick to actually more LAPD control?
It's a very good question. Actually, if you don't report, then what's the police going to think? Nothing's happening in that area. Okay, so let's focus our resources in a different part of Bullshit, since they're reporting what's going on. So that's the importance of reporting, because we use those statistics to put our resources in those places to prevent it from happening again. And we also use predictive policing, which is a system in place that statistically allows us to determine where we believe the crime will take place next. And we put resources there as well.
The other thing that's important to know, which I'm not sure if you're getting to this point or not, is LAPD, and correct me if I'm wrong, is working with the resources that they have. So that's all they're doing. We're shuffling things around. They're fantastic. They're awesome. But I think what you're getting at is we need to know when we need to bubble that up to our council members to say, I'm concerned this is going on. I want more resources for LAPD. I want them to be able to do more. Right. Exactly. Is that what you're talking about? And that would be, I think people often forget too that you have a neighborhood association, you have a neighborhood council, and you have a council member, and you have a mayor, and you need to bubble it up in that order. And I think that's what we're talking about. It's part of a communities advisory board meeting regarding trans-oriented communities and the influx of thousands of new people coming into the Miracle Mile area. And how do we share these limited resources when we have even more people possibly coming into the neighborhood? And it is Captain Otto and McCraney are working with resources, but we're talking about going beyond that and voicing our concerns to council members. Yes.
I'll just point out that things like package thefts and property thefts, burglary from vehicles, those can be reported online now. I have done it. It took about 10 minutes. It took about 10 days for me to get my report in the mail for insurance. It was for a bicycle with 2 wheels still in. So I put the link on Nextdoor a lot. So you can just look up LAPD online report and you'll find it.
That is true. You bring up a really good point that several things can be reported online, so be aware of it and use it. And that is in the packet when we get it. Sorry, I don't want to continue.
Sure. Yes.
Yeah,
I'll get to you next.
There's a series of terrible car crashes on Olympic Boulevard the last few months. And I know that late at night you can hear what seems to be almost like a racetrack with supercars coming from Century City roaring down the Olympic. I'm just sort of wondering, would there ever be any traffic cops late at night on Century City and the threat of street racing on Olympic late at night?
Correct.
Would there be any chance?
There are traffic officers and there are patrol officers that are able to respond to those areas.
Are they in place to catch people?
Well, that's a hard
one. It's a really fast car doing 150 miles an hour.
The only way to do that, obviously, is to have an officer standing by, sitting there, waiting for something to happen. So
the way you address it could be like you said with bring up to, at the meeting, and they'll address it with, maybe set up
Speed trap.
it's kind of like a speed trap, or they do
The task force.
a task force.
They'll do a task force. They can do a task force.
Notices on Friday nights specifically, or, that's the eyes and ears of the community. It happens most likely or most often at this time of day, this time of night, and you'll get resources in there at that specific time, and the word gets out that, hey, when you're speeding down Olympic at this time of night, there's 40 tickets written, send a message out to people who I should probably not be doing it.
Or when we have accidents where there's death involved as a result of the accident, our traffic division will focus on those intersections. Yes, ma'am.
And we do have a traffic committee at the Community Police Advisory Board. It meets on the second Tuesday, so the next meeting is the 13th, I think, of November.
And they have
at the station, and we usually have from 1 to 3 officers there, and usually they're the ones who will actually take some action. So, because there aren't too many motorcycle officers, for example.
Well, there's a juice wash, and they work till, I believe, 1 in the morning. But they only work specific days, so it's important. What Conrad's saying is probably your best bet. Probably attend one of those meetings and share that.
You get FaceTime, in other words, with people who might be able to make a difference.
Yes, sir.
On the question of trespassing, okay, so you have the house, you've got a lawn, you've got a sidewalk. Where's trespassing begin?
Your property.
It's the lawn, like right the edge of the lawn to the sidewalk. You know what I mean?
When we're talking about, okay, so
Because
public access is one thing, meaning if your mailman can get to the front of your lawn,
yeah,
then anyone can, right?
Right.
That just means that anyone can come to your front door knock. Is that really considered trespassing?
that's what I'm asking you.
Okay. So, yes and no, depending on the circumstances. So if you have the same individual, let's say it's this guy that keeps coming up to your house, and he's already been warned, hey, this is my property, I've already told you to leave my property. Can you have him arrested for trespassing? If he was warned and it was documented, and an officer did warn him for trespassing on a previous day, yes, he can be arrested for trespassing.
Do we need signage? I heard that we need signage for trespassing claims.
It's just the icing on the cake. I mean, it's your home. It's a residential area. When we're talking about signs, it's just an added layer, just to add to the report, to show that there were signs. Yeah, right. There were signs posted on the residence that clearly stated no one should come onto the property.
Okay, so basically the lawn can be okay. I guess I'm trying to find the difference between like a guy peeking into my window or turning my knob. Is that trespassing if he's not gone inside the house? But you're saying if he's kind of on my lawn and it's a gray area there?
It's a gray area because
yes, trespassing.
Unless you go into your back, let me be clear about this. If someone goes into your backyard,
yeah,
that's trespassing, 100%. Okay? Because you have a wall, you have a gate, they have to cross that threshold.
If there's no gate, then there could be that gray line of, I'm going there and not in the front, I'm going around back. That's the dilemma. But if you have a gate, like you're saying, there's a clear delineation between trespassing and...
Can you imagine how many Jehovah's Witnesses would get arrested? So that's why it's a very gray area. You can't, if someone is trying to sell you something, if someone is a religious entity and they're trying to sell you, or not sell you, but speak to you regarding their religion, their beliefs, I mean, you can't.
I'm more worried about just people coming and taking a package, you know what I mean? Like, Amazon leaves it outside our door.
Right.
That point is what I'm more concerned.
So that what you have there is a package.
Yeah, package.
So you have a thief.
And
you have that.
you know, I think California Penal Code 96 or whatever it is, 6.022 is trespassing, and having a sign posted has more to do when you have like an open area, farmland, and you need to let people know they're trespassing because you have acreage, right? But when you have boundaries that are clearly your parcel of what a quarter, whatever it is in our neighborhood, then you have to have a trespassing sign posted, am I correct?
Correct.
And obviously when they have reached boundaries into your backyard, that's different than something like I lost my soccer ball in your front bush, right?
Or a vacant property. A vacant home.
And that's different
That's
signage.
why- And that's different signage, but it's also trespass signage. But, yes, ma'am.
I have a question, something with protecting where I live, there is no fence, anything to deter a person from walking from the front on the driveway into the back. That's happened several times. That's happened at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, where they had a transient in the neighborhood, and he would knock on my back door and ask me to feed him. And I told him, yes, I got a 38, I'm gonna feed you. I called me, bullshit, I'm not doing that. I get to run around, I get transferred all over the place. I used to work with people, so I already know. It's not supposed to be that.
Why aren't you calling dispatch directly instead of calling the station?
Oh, very good worse. I've already had to deal with it,
Yeah.
so I know what to do. But what I want to know is, since the owner does not want to put a fence up, do I have to buy a no trespassing sign?
You could, but here's the thing, that scenario changed very quickly because you went from telling me he went to walk to the back of your house. It was
Front to the back.
okay, from the front to the back, and it was 2 in the morning. Who is up at 2 in the morning going to the rear of homes? That's not no good.
I mentioned that to the owner.
Right. Well, shame on the owner for not helping you with that. Shame on him. But there's no reason why we shouldn't be showing up for something like that. And I know that our 911 system is horrible. I know that we're working on that. We're trying to perfect it. And it's, I wish I could give you better response to that. But we get numerous complaints about
And that happens.
our dispatch.
To the owner, look, your life, you should be looking.
Yeah, because God forbid if something happens to you. But again, we can go back and say, don't open that door. It's 2 in the morning. Let's start taking responsibility too and say, hey, wait a minute, I'm not going to become a victim here because I'm not opening that door to you. It's 2 in the morning. There's no way in God's green earth that I'm going to do this.
I'm on the first floor.
During your neighborhood watch meeting, we walked this together, and has the 3 steps. There's a lot of other dimensions you can do, including floodlighting and all sorts of cameras and things.
When the lights go out, the tenants buy the replacement light.
Yeah. So specific issues we can handle at that block meeting, but there are a lot more, there are things that you can do that we can help you with on that. So we have
Also, extra patrol. You can also request extra patrol. There's a form we have at our station.
I need the form because I asked them.
You can come to the station and have them give you that extra patrol request form. And you can fill it out right then and there and give it to the officer at the front desk. And they will put it on our desk and we'll make a copy, submit it to our watch commander, and it will go to the respective watch where that's occurring, the time that it's occurring.
And what is it called again?
Extra patrol request form. Yes, ma'am.
Change where most people that are shot by someone they know rather than a stranger. I know that happened reported some years ago. Has that changed now?
That's a good question. I don't know if that's changed or not. I know that that study was out. Again, it goes back to responsibility as the gun owner. That I always key in on that. If you're going to own a gun, you don't want to use it.
Secure it.
Be mindful. Secure it. Just be responsible.
And before you talk about things like that, I hope you got all the other steps, because there's such value in that, but not before you've also considered all the other alternatives, which is why we are pushing for education and 3-step neighborhood watch plan. So please do consider that. Are there any other questions for?
I really appreciate this meeting, and I do want to get motivated with our block and everything, but a lot of times on XYZ, so-and-so got robbed, the police hasn't still showed up, we just mentioned the 911 issue, and that's why I'm here. I'm really concerned about the reaction time. I'm very concerned about it. I feel like if somebody is there, that I'm not protected by the police. I want to do everything we can for prevention, but what happens, like, in that moment? And
Thank you for bringing that up. She's basically talking about police response time. Her question is, if I'm not mistaken, police response time. So what happens on certain calls, each scenario is different. And I'm not going to tap dance my way out of this one. Yes, our police response times sometimes can take long, but it depends on the situation. If you have a scenario, and let's make it a scenario, burglary in progress, the ring captures the moment the burglars are in the backyard, and now they're entering your home. And now you're calling dispatch and you're saying, my babysitter's there with my baby, please send the police. That is a code 3 response. That means we are going lights and sirens as fast as possible to get to that house because there's human life in there. Okay? Human life versus property life. Okay? Human life is first. It's a priority for us.
And we are going to have at our next quarterly meeting, dispatch come and talk to you about triaging calls and what LAPD goes for to make sure. Yeah, you're going to make sure with them.
Dispatch, it's just like I've actually called and been like given the runaround like this woman has explained, and that's really scary to me.
Right. So part of the reason why certain times police response takes so long is based on the fact that the crime has already occurred and the suspect is now no longer at the location. So there's no immediate reason for police response. Our call loads are generated based on priority. So the most important call, and I'm not saying that that call is less important, but it's based on priority. We're going to respond to a situation where a woman is screaming and being stabbed before we respond to a house that just got broken into and the burglar has already left the scene.
So I was a victim of a burglary during fumigation, and I had them live on my camera on my Ring doorbell, and I was calling LAPD 911 rather, and had them on the phone and was describing the situation. But that call was triage, meaning they had to decide what level of response to give. And when I told them that, yes, I'm watching it, it's happening right now, but I'm watching it, they knew I was watching it on camera. I was not in the dwelling, and I had also reported them, oh, they just left. So then I waited 40 minutes. I was furious. I was like, what? And I was out there 1 in the morning, pajamas and all. I'm like, where were you? And I found out where they were and what happened and how that call got triage. So it is really important. A lot of people say, just tell them that there's a gun to your head. It's really important to be honest and to really assess the situation yourself and make that judgment and call and get that correct information so that they, who are incredibly talented, as you learn, and heavily burdened, are able to really hear what your words are saying and triage it accordingly to give the right call. We get over 1,000 calls a week for Wilshire Division, a day, a week. It's insane. And also, I think are responsible for seeing over 800,000 individuals at night and over close to 1 million or 1.5 million during the day hours or something. We have a lot of churches, temples, churches, Grove, Government Connection, Cedar Sinai Hospitals, a lot of museums. Dunn's Mirror is pretty hot lately.
Believe me, folks, we love to work for you. If there's something going on, we want to address it. If there's a crime in progress, we want to get there to catch the bad guy. We love that adrenaline. It is why we do this job. A lot of us, it's not a job, it's a calling.
Not only that, it removes, like I said, it's the people that we catch, it removes them from the equation. And then when you see an eviction at a proper location, you'll notice a downward trend in DFMVs, burglaries, thefts, because that's how people, unfortunately, on the edges, usually feed their habits by these nuisance and theft-related crimes.
I have a question for Detective Maloney. You specialize in robbery, correct? So can you give us a few tips before we move back to our raffle? Not that you're not excited to raffle, but what can you tell the audience today as to how to really avoid being robbed? Say you're walking down La Brea, you're 16, you got your earbuds hanging over, you didn't listen to your mom, you got your new iPhone out. Tell my 16-year-old
It's not even the 60-year-olds, it's everybody. Myself included at times. Everybody's addicted to their cell phone, and that's our number one shooting robbery and taking is cell phones. Everybody's walking around. And it goes from all the way from just theft where they'll see that you're holding it carelessly in your hand, run by, or scoot by on one of their scooters and grab it from you. But once you attempt to get it back or some force is used in taking it from you, that's when it upticks and you'll see that there might be an increase in robberies. a lot of them are things like that. Once there's a struggle over the item, that changes it from just a grand theft person to an actual robbery. So my biggest issue, or biggest point I would like to say is, it's just being aware of your surroundings. It's a pretty safe community, this really is. But we can all do better, myself included, of just maybe being a police when I go to restaurants. I sit in before I go in and sit down, I look around, try to choose a table that I can feel safe in, sit with my back to the wall, facing the door so I can see who comes in. Things like that. When I walk around, when I go out every morning to get into my car at work, I leave the house around 4 in the morning. I have a ring doorbell, you know, not that I'm a salesman for them, but I think it's great. It activates when I come out. I stay there for a second, I look around my neighbor's house before I walk in the dark to my car to see if there's anyone around. I have a gun, so I'm a little bit more confident in my walk to my car, but I would, you know, it takes an extra second. Be aware, look around, if you see something that feels, if you feel that spider sense tingling, listen to it. But again, it's just, again, being aware of your surroundings, things of that nature. And this is my first time being at one of these meetings in a long time, and I'm very impressed. I think this neighborhood watch 3-step program, I mean, this is a great program. I encourage everybody to stay enthused, and this is really a great program.
And just to add to that, like the secretary was saying, keeping your head up, head on a swivel means you're alert, you're looking around. When you're walking, you don't have your head down on your phone. Grab your phone, put it away. That call, that text message, take it away. Just take that walk to your car, to your home, keep your phone inside, and just keep your personal property out of view. Meaning, you have a necklace, if you have a nice necklace, gold necklace, just tuck it in. There's no reason why you gotta bring it out and show everybody you're huge. You know, we're living in different times. Yeah. Okay. We're just living in different times. Just tuck it in, save it for dinner when you go out with your husband or wife, knock yourselves out.
The only time you can be looking down at your phone is if you're activating the system to call 911. Or to go to Band app to put in, there's a suspicious behavior, someone knocked on the door, just walking down the UC's driveway. That is the only time you're looking down at your phone. Are there any other questions for officers? I have a few more things before we wrap it up with our chocolate chip cookie dinner tonight. We all need to get some better food. Any other questions? So what I want to
Thank you.
Over a year ago, as a result of being victimized, along with my husband and 2 of our kids at home that time, and I was determined to get you guys motivated. I got myself motivated. I took care of my own home, and my kids were like, "Mom, we know," and they're putting the alarm on. We've got surveillance cameras. But the reason I've gotten involved was because I don't want you guys to become victims of crime. There's a lot you're not doing, and there's a lot more we can do as a team. I have such respect for LAPD, I can't even tell you. I started by standing out there in my pajamas thinking, I'm going to give you a slice of Kari right now. And I ended up being very humbled, and I learned a lot. And I suggest you do the same. We need to support it. Listen, I'm not stupid. I looked around and I said, okay, what are we going to do? And I was like, here she goes. What I did was I said, where are our resources? It was MMRA, it was LAPD, and it goes further. It's Councilmember Rue, West End, Mid-City West, and I got involved. And I told Councilmember Rue, I am going to go back to my neighborhood and make this happen. So I don't want you to make me a liar. I want you to get involved, and I want to remind you tonight that while you got some great information from Detective Maloney and Officer Rodriguez, you're going to get a lot more from me. You are going to get specific tips, way more than the 20 or 30 you got tonight. I'm holding on to it because it doesn't work to give it to you tonight. That's the island mentality. It works when I come to your block, you do the work, you send out the flyers and say we're having a meeting on November 10th, and our neighborhood watch coordinator is coming. She's going to set up a little PowerPoint. Okay, it's some of what you already saw, but it is a ton more of specific stuff. It changes the way you think, and it helps to have everybody come together and be a team. That's the purpose of tonight. It's not just to have, it's fantastic that 2 officers came. I can't thank you enough. I know you guys are super busy. But it really was to come to tell you, we need to come together block by block. All 56 blocks of Miracle Mile need to be activated. If they aren't already, it's a shame. I have been begging for it for 12 to 14 months. Please, this is fun because it really is challenging to me, but this is not my job. This is all volunteerism because out of the kindness of my heart and my volunteers, I care about my neighbors and I know we can make a difference. And it works on the blocks that have done it. It works so much so that we've seen a reduction in crime. And you know the ones that are not participating, even on incredibly active, awesome blocks, they missed an opportunity to come on board. I want everybody on board. Please go home tonight and call your block captain, email them. If you don't have a block captain, sign up. If you're not the person to be the block captain, you know on your block who is the person who's going to motivate your block. Do it because this is small stuff. It's property crime. Crimes of opportunity. Yes, they came in and they took my son's Xbox, a ton of incredibly valuable stuff, but they didn't harm me. They almost did, and they'll never do that again. But down the road, there is a possibility of a disaster. We're not organized for that. You will not have LAPD, LAFD, nobody's putting out your fire, nobody's pulling Brandy out from under the cinder block wall, because you will be surviving on your own for 2 weeks. I'm not scaring you. I have a solution for that. But we can't do it if we're not organized block by block. We didn't know who we were before. Take a look at the map. There was no bedazzled jewels next to some of these names. It was empty. I'm like, hi, we're the block captains. There was one, and it was me. Well, there was Charles Rogers, there were a few others, so there were some good people around doing their work, but they didn't know about each other, and they weren't yanked into meetings until late at night to discuss this. This is set up so that we can communicate and work together as a team. Whether it is property crime, a burglary on Ogden, a burglary on Dunsmuir, there's crime happening up on Wilshire. I have a solution for that. There's going to be paper cutouts of LAPD officers in every single business up there so that they don't have smash and grabs. Okay? So, now, I know, you know why you're staying here? You're all staying here because we have 2 more raffle prizes. So let's quickly go through that. Okay, prize number 3. And who should we have for this time? Let's see. How do you want to do us the honors? And Tal, by the way, is a newly elected board member of Mid-City West. So let's give a round of applause for Tal Friend.
Also, I would encourage everyone to pick up a free refrigerator magnet offered by Mid-City West. It's got all the imperative contact numbers for a lot of municipal services, including the non-emergency police, My 311, LA. So it's a really good resource, and it's a free refrigerator magnet. So we have all those numbers at for arm's reach. But the beginning ticket is 157.
Oh wait, this is a prize for how much? This is for the assessment.
The home security assessment by Officer Rodriguez. 157251.
What's it, 15? Ah, my God! That is going to be a hard task to break into.
This is rigged.
Hey, Joe, one suggestion real quick. When we come to your house, let your neighbors know that you have not committed a crime, that LAPD patrol cars out front. Okay? All right, and then we have another, the last one is a $100 gift card to Spago of Beverly Hills. Right. I think we're going to have our MMRA Vice President Ken Hickson in the back.
Well, he says he wants to accompany this person.
Yeah, I bet. I bet.
You're not winning this one.
Yeah. If he does, we're going to have to compensate him.
Okay. The winning number is 157185.
I think I maybe.
157.
Yeah, I got that one.
Congratulations. All right, so we are going to wrap it up a little bit here. Does anyone have any questions for me? Let me tell you how this works. So right now, if you're not in the Miracle Mile area, because you've heard about this and we're so popular, I will help you get your neighborhood motivated. You need to go to your neighborhood association and you need to say, hey, there is this crazy gal at the Miracle Mile and she's really moving blocks along. and I will work with them to get them started. All of this will be on LAPD's community website. That will be shared all over nextdoor.com and among other leaders, including our neighborhood councils, as well as Council Member Brew and Weston. What I need you to do if you are a Miracle Mile resident, I need you to let me know that you're interested in getting a block captain, you want to be a block captain, or if you haven't a block captain and you are not confident giving the three-step neighborhood watch program, I will come to your block meeting and do that. When you do that, you'll see a difference. That's how it works. Does anyone have any questions regarding the process, any pros, cons? Forgot the most important thing. The raffle was obviously to help me so I can go back home and don't worry about it. But the lawn signs are huge. They're fantastic. They're 18 by 25 or 4. They're not that big. They're huge in the message that they're sending to your neighborhood. They are letting your neighbors know, wow, we are part of the neighborhood watch. It's not going to have the criminal go, oh, I saw that sign that scared me, I'm out of here. But it will let them know that with the ACS, the ADT, the no trespassing, drive like your children live here, drive faster if your husband lives there, just kidding. And it'll mark your target, it'll make it a lot less lucrative to come down your block to commit a crime. So the lawn signs, there will be a few tweaks in the next version of them, but they're really, really good. They blend in, and they also stand out. You may not see the number, but overall the message is there. We will make the LAPD number larger next time.
So
they've been very, very successful, and honestly, the response they've gotten so far is huge. What's happening with them is they're going to be all over Miracle Mile. And if you have any feedback, please let me know. They are to stay in the ground. They are not to get picked up and put on your personal property. They are strategically placed to help you deter crime. And they will be about 115 of them out. And if we need to get more, we will. But right now, there's going to be a pretty good saturation of lawn signs. And that is about it. Any questions from anybody? Did you like the raffle? Yeah. All right. Raise your hand if you're going to get rid of the island mentality, and you are going to become part of the team and find out who your neighbors are. Say hello. Be vigilant, not a vigilante, and you are going to partner with me, LAPD, and the rest of your community to make this an even better place. Yes? Raise your hand. All right. Thank you all very much. I'm responsible for all the chairs. Please help me by taking your chair and stacking it at the back of the wall. Thank you very much.